As you know, it is Mothering Sunday. Not all of us are mothers, not all of us are fathers, but we've all looked after somebody along the way and probably still do. So I want to recognize today that we all have a part to play, because when you think of the definition of a mother and then when you think of the definition of mothering, they're not exactly the same thing. So I'll start off with the definition of a mother. A definition of a mother is a woman in relation to her child or children. But what is mothering? Mothering is the activity of bringing up a child as a mother. So it doesn't say that mothering requires a woman. It just says that you're doing the job to raise a child or children. So I was a mother a long, long time ago. From the time I was 3 or 4 years old, I looked after my younger sister. I was mothering, and we all do it. You might be in school and you look after the younger ones. That's still mothering, because you're still caring. You're still looking after somebody. Mothering is the act or the role that a person plays in caring for a child or children. So you really don't have to be a woman, but I'm not excluding women. I'm a woman myself, so, happy Mother's Day, but let's think about it in a holistic way and remember that other people get involved, other people help, other people care. I met a poet a long time ago now, probably not that long ago, and he wrote, I'm still a young person, he wrote a poem about his mother, and it was a very interesting poem, and the reason why I mentioned it was because it wasn't Father's Day, but he wrote a poem about his mother specifically, because in the poem it says, "My mother who fathered me," which shows that you don't have to be a man to be a father. It just shows that we can swap roles, because we all have strength and we all have feelings and we all want to lend a hand. We all want to take part in shaping these young human beings. It's an important job. Nobody should be left out. And Gerard mentioned in his prayer about some of us who have lost mothers or people who were close to us that helped to raise us. And I'm one of those people who felt like I couldn't live without having a mother. But I had so many mothers, but I had one that really belonged to me. But so many other women have mothered me along the way. So many other people who are not women have helped me along the way. And I think when we think of the reading where Naomi's daughter-in-laws were crying, they didn't want to leave her. Why do you think they wanted to stay with her so much? What was so special about Naomi? Don't you think that's a testimony to the type of mother-in-law she was? She wasn't a mother in name only. She must have mothered those two girls to such a degree that even though their husbands had died, her two sons had died, they still wanted to stay with the mother-in-law. Now, one eventually obeyed and went to her people, but the other one stayed. And she stayed because Naomi was a real mother. She really cared about her two daughter-in-laws. And this daughter reciprocated this love and returned it in 100%. She returned it back to her and said, "I'm staying with you. I want to stay with you. Wherever you stay, I'm going to stay. Wherever you die, I will die. I will stay wherever you are." That's a powerful statement to the quality of mothering that she received from this mother-in-law. Not all mother-in-laws would be like Naomi. So let's give credit where credit is due. She set an excellent example of what being a mother or what mothering is really about. It's not an easy job. Those of you who have children or are looking after children, whether they're your own children or not, you will understand that being a mother isn't easy. Mothering isn't easy. You have to have patience longer than my arm. You have to be able to manage without sleep. How many of you can manage without sleep, without getting up and feeling so ratty that the first person who talks to you might get slapped? How easy is it to walk around like, I had a great night's sleep last night, yeah. I'm all right now. And I can cope with this screaming child and the older brothers and sisters that are not giving me the help that I need. How many of you can cope? A sleepless night, the children are still bouncing around and hitting their heads on the ceiling, and you've got to cope with all of that. You've got to be a nurse, you've got to be a doctor, you've got to be a cleaner. There isn't any end to the amount of qualifications that you need to actually do this job properly. You have to be an accountant, because you're going to keep the roof over our heads. You have to be able to budget, because we need to eat. And we're children, and we're eating around the clock. There is nothing that we can't eat. So don't plan that you're buying the shopping and it's going to last until the end of the week, because we're still eating. We're getting up in the middle of the night and we're saying, Mom, I'm hungry. Mothers, or the person who is performing the task of mothering, they don't sleep. They manage on a small amount of hours each night, if they get it at night, or during the day when that little person that you're looking after has just fallen over and accidentally fell asleep. You've been trying to put them to sleep for hours, but they've said, nope, I'm playing with these building blocks. Oh, I'm making a mess over here. Oh, I need something to eat. No, I don't like it. I don't want it. And you just finished cooking for that person. Suddenly, they trip up, they fall asleep where they fell, and you're just thinking, yes, 40 winks. Praise God. They're not like that forever. But as parents or guardians, or older brothers and sisters, you look after them selflessly. I have a little sister. She's not very little. She's actually a bit taller than me. And there's only 5 years between us. I'm not going to tell you my age because I'm not boasting. But we went to Aston Park. My mum sent us to the park to play. 4 of us went to the park. I think the 4 of us was there. There's 4 of us all together that was born here. And my little sister cut her foot on a bit of glass. Now I'm the big sister. And she was smaller than me at the time. And I put her on my back and I carried her to town. And I walked all the way to town because we'd spent the money on ice cream. A man stopped and tried to give me a lift. But I'm the big sister, and I remember everything my mom said. Don't take lift from strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Don't look at strangers. Keep on going. Keep on pressing forward. They will give up tormenting you after a while. And I carried that girl on my back all the way to town, to what is now the Children's Hospital, but was the General Hospital at the time. I didn't do it for thanks. I didn't do it for credits. I did it because I felt responsible, and I'm looking after this person because that's my responsibility. I'm not her mom, but she was my sister. She's still my sister, and she still reminds me of that day. So it made an impact. But I didn't do it for the impact. The other person I think of, when I think about mothers, and this being Mothering Sunday, and let me keep an eye on the time, I think of Moses' mother. How many of you know the story of Moses' mother? She's even named in the Bible. Well, I never remembered her name, and I'm not going to say her name because I think it's a strange name for me to pronounce. And every time I say it, it comes out different. But the remarkable thing about Moses' mother is that she was in that time when the the ruling king at the time wanted to get rid of the firstborn, not even the firstborn, all the male children that are born. And he got the midwives to kill the baby boys. I think that's quite a drastic thing to do, but he wanted to keep the population down. So it was very important for him that as soon as they're born, they just get rid of them. She, being a mother and being full of that motherly feeling for her child, decided that he's not going to kill my baby. And she hid him for 3 months. So she must have given birth on her own because the midwives were instructed to kill the babies. So she hid her baby for 3 months. How can you hide a baby who's crying, pooping, doing everything that babies do? She managed it somehow. And that was that love that she had. And love is so important. But God's plan is bigger than love. Because she felt she had to protect this child. And she protected this child for 3 months, and then she put him in a basket. She wove this basket and did what she needed to do to make sure it was watertight so it wouldn't sink. And this baby was put in this little basket. That's why we call them Moses baskets. And it was pushed along the riverbank, and the Pharaoh's daughter found this basket. Now, let's put ourselves in the shoes of this mother. What makes you think that your basket with your baby in it is going to get safely to the Pharaoh's daughter? Do you think she had those high hopes? Would you have those high hopes? Would you wanted this to be the results? I don't think she had a plan. Her first instinct was protect the baby. After 3 months, she realized she couldn't hide him because there would have been questions about this child growing up when all boys would have been dead. Nobody would be at that age growing up. So it would have been very, very suspicious. So to protect him, she let go of him. She gave him up. But she didn't kill him. She wanted him to survive. So she put him out there and she let God take control. And God took control. He grew up as a prince. He grew up and he had everything he needed. He could eat, drink, play. He was living life. But God didn't leave it there. And you all know the story of Moses. So I'm not going to school you on what happened to Moses. What I want to say is that Moses' mother was very, very courageous. That was a big act of love. That was faith in the making. That was the Spirit of God moving through this person to get her to do the right thing for this child, for the people that he eventually saved from this king. So, what is a mother? What is mothering? How many of us are mothering other people? You know, you don't have to be mothering somebody who is younger or smaller than you. You could be mothering, you could be supporting somebody who is your age mate. You know, depending on circumstances, we look after each other. You know, the greatest thing that we can do for each other is to love them. Despite our differences, we have to love each other. We have to look after each other. And that's what mothering is all about. So I'm still saying Happy Mother's Day, but Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Thank you. Right, I think it's time for the children to come in. Is someone going to let them in? We'll unlock the doors now. We've had our private conversation. If you want to revert back to Mothering Sunday being all about the mothers, feel free. But don't forget to love each other and treat each other with respect and reverence.